Hey everybody, this is Al Nash from the Unapologetic Women Empowerment Dynasty, and you're listening to the Unapologetic Women podcast, the show for women who choose to live their legacies unleashed, unlimited, and unapologetic. If this is a space you're curious about, visit unapologetic-women.com. Today we're talking about a woman's choice to be authentic with Diana Radulescu. When I asked her for an introduction, she simply said she is the founder and host of Label Free Podcast and soon to be founder of the Label Free Group. But let me say that Diana has lived an extraordinary life rife with trauma, which she has so gracefully chosen to grow from into a beautiful woman inside and out who focuses on the good, that which she desires to bring into form, and living a legacy that inspires. This is a woman you might want to follow on social and listen to some of her previous podcasts. Thanks for joining us. This is Diana. So this is interesting for me because you were one of those women that the first time I met you, I was like, oh man, this is a woman I want to have drinks with. And by the way, I don't drink a lot. So when I meet somebody and go, oh, this is a woman I want to have drinks with, for me, there is something in the energy that feels like fun, that feels like truly alive and celebrating of being alive, not necessarily needing something to celebrate in life, just celebrating, oh my God, it's a party. We get to party today. And so thank you for coming into my life and bringing more party vibes.
Oh, I love it. You are welcome. I bring the party, that's for sure. Sometimes, a lot of times good, sometimes bad, though. I don't know.
Well, in fact, the first time that we had a conversation, you were sitting in the car with your future in-laws behind you, busy planning your wedding.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
It's pretty badass for a woman to be planning her wedding and go, oh, sorry, honey, I have a call scheduled right now. You know, hi, folks in the back that you've never met, meet a strange person. And that just showed me just how comfortable you are in your skin and where you are as a woman in your life. So let me ask you the question of all questions, which I think you will have an interesting answer to. What does it mean to you to be an unapologetic woman?
I love that question. I think it means just to be your authentic self, not caring what anybody thinks. And I'm someone, and I don't know if I can swear, but I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. If you don't like me for who I am, then you are not supposed to be in my life. Like I wear bold colors. I'm very bold. I say what's on my mind. I'm very direct. And I think that however a woman is comfortable being, they should be that and not like think twice, like, oh no, what is this person going to think about me? I don't buy into that thought process.
Yeah, so authentic self is one of those words that I feel is being overused at the moment because everybody's talking about authenticity. But what does authenticity mean to you? Like when you say being your authentic self, what does that really mean?
I think it means like being really in touch with who you are, to be honest, and I think there's a lot of people, men and women, that are out there that are not in touch with who they are. And they live these shallow lives. I'm not necessarily shallow, but these lives that are like kind of in a box, right? And, they don't know, they at one point in time, they probably knew who they were, but they just let life run them over and they're numb to what that means to them. And so for me, I've always just followed my heart. Always followed my heart, good, bad, or indifferent. I take risks, and I've never wanted to. There have been a couple of times in my life where I felt like I was losing like that who I was, and I had to like pump the brakes. Like, no, I've got to come back and like realign myself because that's not a comfortable place to be for me. So that's what that means to me, like being in touch with who you are. And I think that is something that I've always maintained throughout my life.
And it sounds so easy. And I'll be the first person to state very clearly that I lost myself in my late 20s, early 30s, which is how I ended up having suicidal depression. And at the end of the day, everybody's like, oh, just do you, boo. Like, just be you. And I'm kind of thinking, well, how many people really know when we remove all the conditioning and
Yeah.
all the criteria that we put on ourselves to be liked by other people, to be accepted by other people, because we get tired of being abandoned. I got tired of being abandoned by friends every time that I was consistently weird, because I am. You just never know what's going to come out of my mouth. I never know what's going to come out of my mouth.
I love
Um,
it.
I'm not the same person every single day. You know, one day I can be really high vibe, and the other day I
Yeah.
would just be like, fuck off, world, and leave me
Yeah.
alone. I don't want
Yeah.
anything to do with you. And it's tough to find people who accept you in all of you. And so
Yeah.
it's easy to stop accepting ourselves
Mm.
as all of us and think that, well, they like me when I'm like this. So
Mm-hmm.
let me be this a little more.
Mm.
It took me suicidal depression and then some to finally go, whoa, this
Yeah.
is not worth it. And it sounds as though it didn't take that much for you. But can you share with us some of what did it take for you? What were those like little moments of, what the fuck is going on here? Like, no, 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 this is not cool with me.
So probably when I had struggled the most was with my late husband. And we lived such a busy life working. All we did was work, 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 work. And, we wore like a uniform. We had like a work shirt and black pants, and that's not me at all. And so I think at one point I almost had like a breakdown, because all we did was travel, travel, travel. And I'm in this like uniform all the time. And I just we were getting ready to go on another trip, and I just sat down on the stairs. I said, I can't do it. I can't do it. And from that point, I just started like reconnecting with what I love to work out. I wasn't working out. I had put on weight because all we were doing was traveling and working. That was it. Like there was no fun in our relationship. It was just all about work. And so like I was from that point forward, I just started reconnecting with the things that I love to do. Like wearing clothes that I love to wear, working out, even if it was just in the basement. I started working out again and doing yoga and just taking care of myself, and just doing the things that I love to do. And so, that was probably the one point that sticks out in my head to me that was really rough. And I just remember that point. I'm like, I can't keep doing this. And then obviously when he passed, it was a completely life change too, like a life altering type of thing. But it really allowed me to really grow into this person that I am today, which I'm incredibly just beyond happy, beyond like peaceful, have all the joy. And so it's just, I think that all of our journeys are very unique.
Yes. And I remember when I left my marriage and I had to kind of go, oh, shit, what do I like? What do I like to do? What
Mm-hmm.
do I like to wear? I had a little bit of an identity crisis in that moment because I had been married for 19 years,
Oh,
been
wow.
with him for 22 years. And in all of that time, I had so become the wife, the mom.
Yeah.
Everything in my house was very masculine, very blue and black and masculine colors. And I had to go out and buy pots and pans. And I was like, am I allowed to buy pink? And I bought blue, by the way. I bought blue. I wasn't ready yet to kind of go, actually, I do love pink and
Yeah.
I do like working out in a certain way and on my own. I don't like working out with other people. And what do I like to eat? It
Yeah.
was such a rediscovering process. And now that I'm in a new relationship, I'm kind of going, well, how much do I now
Right.
adapt to being back?
Yeah.
And he has boys, right? So I'm straight back into a completely masculine environment
Wow.
and kind of
Yeah.
going, how am I going to do it differently this time so that there is space for my pink feminine weirdness,
Yeah.
whilst reintegrating into a relationship dynamic? And you are in a new marriage,
Yes.
brand new, out of the box.
Yes.
How are
Hmm.
you finding that transition back into a partnership? Let's say it like that.
I love being in a relationship, but the one great thing about my new husband is that he is very accepting of who I am. And
Mm.
I knew, like, as we were getting more serious, I wanted to tell him everything, all my dark secrets, all the skeletons, because I knew if I could not tell this man everything, then I could not be with him. I wasn't going to be in a relationship like that again. He has to fully accept me for who I am, and he, support me, which he does. He supports me like crazy, and being comfortable, feeling safe to tell him all the things. I knew, like, that was it. Like, he's just the one. And so we're able to be like we are able to be each other, independent of one another, but also be, together and entwined, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yes. Wow. Was that a condition that you placed on for yourself, in that if I
Yes.
cannot tell this man everything, then it's a no-go. We're not even going to go any further.
Yeah. My late husband, he was very judgmental. And so I could not tell him a lot of things that happened to me in my life, things that I had done and experienced, and without getting like major lashback or whatever you want to call it. So I just wanted to make sure that my next partner, I have to feel safe with him. I have to be able to tell him everything, and him being accepting of me, because what kind of relationship is that I had to cover things up all the time. Like, I'd have to look at my family if they start bringing up a story, and I'd look at them like, no, you can't say that. Like, I don't want to be in that situation ever again, because that's not healthy. That's not real love. You know what I mean? Someone should love you for all of your like perfections and your flaws.
And I guess it starts with us loving ourselves unconditionally, which is a tough one. I'm still working on that every single day, by the way. I adore myself, and I was chatting to the ladies in the soiree yesterday and going, I've become the observer of myself as the observer, and seeing
Yeah. Okay.
just how much judgment I still have of myself and how hard I still am on myself, instead of
Mm.
going, Al, take a chill pill. You're
Yeah.
doing so well. Like, you're doing better every single day. Just have patience with yourself.
Oh, yeah, for
And
sure.
then realizing that I was still judging myself harshly in, I should be getting this faster. I should already be somewhere better
Mm.
in everything, or in certain aspects of my life. Like, I'm
Yeah.
working on the weight thing at the moment, because I turned 50, and in the last couple of years, my body started spreading, even though I'm still training all the time. And I had to finally get to the point of, oh shit, maybe I'm going through menopause, because I haven't
Yeah.
had a period in 7 years, 8 years.
Oh, wow.
I had a partial hysterectomy.
Oh, okay.
Um, so I didn't know I was so disconnected with
Yeah.
what's happening in my body. And then now finding the patience and the grace to go, yes, this is a new journey for the body. It is a rediscovering, um, resculpting of the body using different clay.
Yeah.
You know,
That's a good way to put that. I like that.
that takes a lot of compassion, and I've not quite there yet. I'm still like really impatient with my body, and impatient with the progress, and impatient with myself. And as the observer of that, I go, yeah,
Yeah.
there's still space for grace.
Yeah, yeah, that's tough. I mean, I'm approaching 50, so I'm not sure how I'm going to be, but I think that being judgmental of yourself is like a very dangerous place to be.
Yeah.
And so, like, I call it the little man talking shit to you in your head. Like, you got to tell that little man to shut up. Like, don't talk shit to me. Who are you?
Yeah, how do we balance that? So, playing devil's advocate here, right? Because we are ladies with high standards. We are ladies who love the exceptional. How do we balance that fine line of holding high standards for ourselves, but not being critical of ourselves?
Hmm. That's a good question. How do we maintain high standards without being critical? I don't know. But the only answer I can come up with is that you just gotta let things flow. You know, like your high standards are never going to change, but being critical is something that you choose to do. So if you just let your life just flow naturally and don't fight against it, I think that it changes how you see things.
Mm.
And for me, it's amazing when you stop fighting against yourself all the wonderful things that start happening. I mean, and I'm learning to flow a lot better recently. Like in the last couple months, I'm just starting to say, okay, you know what? It's going to be fine. And I just let things flow. And like every time I think that there's going to be an issue with something like maybe finances or, my business, and I just like relax and say, it's going to be fine. It just like flows and like something, it just pops up and things happen. And it's just been, I think that when we get to a place where we just trust that the process that we're going through and flowing in our life, it's a beautiful thing.
Are you open for us going to the business conversation? And
Sure.
here's why.
Yeah.
So I want to be very respectful of the process that is happening. And I know so many women entrepreneurs are going through a space, a stage, a phase of life is clearing out,
Yeah.
like a storm. The things
Yeah.
that are no longer serving us in our greatest good, but
Yeah.
that storm is scary. It feels
Yeah.
shitty. It's a bit heart-wrenching at times.
Yeah.
And I know that you have just gone through that. So can you just share very briefly with the listeners the process that your business has been going through in the last couple of months, and maybe a
Sure.
little bit of how you processed to not go into complete dark bitch, like resentful,
Yeah.
vengeful, because you would have had cause to do that, but you chose grace and you chose
Yeah.
acceptance and you chose flow. So would you mind sharing that?
Sure, of course. So my business is made up of a couple different things. So I'm a podcaster, and my business is around podcasting specifically. So I do produce other shows. I do manage social media because that's part of it. And then I also was the former founding partner and head coach for the Female Podcasters Network, which was starting to generate some money. It wasn't crazy, but I was offering coaching, and we did podcast audits, and I had big plans for that network, which I'm going to do my own now, so we're good. But my partner, like I told you about a couple of months ago, a couple of months ago, it was the end of April. So, like I come back from my honeymoon, and no, my wedding. I came back from my wedding, and she had completely shut everything down. No notice, no nothing, no conversation. Couldn't even give the ladies in the network like a heads up, like, hey, things are going to be are shutting down. And to me, like that is the professional things to do and the right thing to do. And just like that, I think that just makes you look better. Like, hey, we're going to shut things down. It's not going the direction we thought it is. And so I got pretty upset that day, and I was just like, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I invested a lot of my own money and my time. I did all the work around building it. She had a good foundation when I joined her, but she was looking for someone to take it to the next level. But it was not always easy talking to her, to getting her on the phone and talking about things and wanting to make decisions. I was in the process of starting to apply for grants so that we could, get it to get it going a little bit faster. But things happen for a reason, and I'm kind of glad that happened, because now other opportunities are opening up for me, and I'm starting my own network that I'll have complete control over, and I won't have to ask anybody for anything. And I have a vision in my head what it's going to look like, and I can just make that happen. So things just, I think that things happen for a reason in our lives, and we just have to like say, okay, that God is keeping, or whatever your higher power is protecting you from something that is not the best for you. Something better is on the other end of that. And so, yeah, I mean, what am I going to do? Sit there and be angry about it for days? And that just like, that's taking away from my energy of doing it, like putting it into my podcast, my guests, my social media, like all the things that make my business run, right? I mean, that's just not that does not serve you as an individual.
Mm. I came to the conclusion a while ago that we don't always get what we want, but we always get what we need.
Yes.
And the need is with regards to our greatest evolution and growth. And so a lot of the times when we get what we need, we look at it and go, are you kidding me? That is
Yeah.
a challenge, or it's an obstacle, or it's a setback. But it's not if we see what is the growth available within that. And, your growth clearly was in autonomy. Your growth was in grace. Your growth was in the understanding of the level of emotional maturity where you're at, that you didn't even consider giving her days, the situation, days of your
No.
energy. It was just like, no, no, no. There's other things to focus on.
Yeah.
And what we focus on grows. And I think this is one of the things that a lot of people hear and say, but they still don't get it. What we focus on grows. And so even if we are focusing on what what is sucky at the moment because we say we want to process it or we say we want to work through it, that is still growing. You're keeping it alive through your
Yeah.
focus instead of going, where am I going to put my focus? What is it that I really want to grow in this world?
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, that's all about manifesting, right? So you got to be careful. Your thoughts can create things. So really, like, yeah, you got to guard your thoughts. And I'm sure you have. I mean, I know I have. I have manifested good and bad things. Like there have been bad things I've thought of that would happen. And I'm like, crap, why did I think about that? But then obviously the flip side of that is that you know that you have the power to change your thought, your thinking, and to manifest all good things in your life. And so that I just try to stay on that positive note. Like when something like that happens, what am I going to do and put all that energy into being upset? We had a couple exchanges, that day was not great, but then I just move it along, like you can't hold on to it. It's not healthy.
We still get to be human about it. We still get to have our shitty little
Mhm.
tantrum fits, right? I don't ever want women to think that we sitting here and going, oh my God, we are so perfect. We just
Oh
like this
no.
all the time. We always have our shit together. Oh,
Yeah.
oh hell no. Like
Yeah.
we are still human. We're still having the full human experience. And
Oh
I
yeah.
think that we need to start being okay with that. We need to start being okay with manifesting the shitty stuff too. Because it's
Yeah.
when we manifest the shitty stuff that we can go, oh, no, I really don't want that. What is it that I want to focus on? What is it that I want instead?
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't have the sunshine without the rain. No,
Correct.
you
Yeah.
reframe that. You can have the sunshine without the rain, but the plant needs both sunshine and rain in
Oh
order
yeah.
to
My
grow and
plants need a lot of
blossom.
rain right now. I just planted all those dang plants. That was hard work, man. But anyways, sorry. When you said that, I had to pop that in there.
Now,
Oh
you
my goodness.
have an interesting podcast as well called
Yes.
Label Free. Label
Yeah.
Free podcast. Why label free?
Because I think we put so many labels on ourselves and from our other people and from society. And so after everything that I had went through with my late husband, and my dog is getting a little crazy over there. Hold on a second. Athena, come here. Athena, come over here. Come. Ah! She wants to play. Sorry about that. So when I was rebuilding my life, I realized all these labels that I had been carrying around with me, and that the labels that people were putting on me, like being a widow, like that was really crazy. I had a hard time swallowing that pill. Like people really treated me differently. And then when I tried to start dating and telling the men that I was going on dates with that I was a widow, like I was like a sign of the cross, like, oh boy, stay away from her. You know what I mean? It was really wild. And so that was like one of the motivators of starting Label Free.
I
Yeah.
love that. I've always said, don't define me by what's happened in my life.
Yeah.
I'm not an overcomer. I'm not a victor. I'm not a victim. I'm none of those things. And when I started becoming aware of the power of labels, I thought to
Yeah.
myself, okay, but what are the unthought of labels that we self-identify with in today's society that has a huge impact on our personalities, on our behavior, and our belief in self? And what I came to understand was labels go way more than what we think labels are.
Oh
Into,
yeah.
I've been in the personal development industry for, let's say, 30 years now. And seeing how people want to make sense of the human experience and then creating concepts which
Yeah.
become labels that
Mm-hmm.
we live by. And even things like imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
My question to myself and to society at the moment is, what if we didn't have all of these really self-inhibiting
Mm-hmm.
concepts that somebody is developing by observing a behavior, and then they go, oh, when we feel uncomfortable in
Yeah.
certain situation, it's because we feel like an imposter. Let's call that imposter syndrome. Let's call it yeah, let's not go too I don't want to trigger too many people on this podcast
Yeah.
today, because
I don't like that.
we can literally take any concept that we are given by the professionals at the moment and go, how did that become a label? And
Yeah.
how is that label actually, yes, it makes us feel better because we go, oh, it's not just me. It's okay. There's a label for it. It's a syndrome. I can fix it, or somebody can fix me. Instead of going, no, I just have certain feelings at certain times, and that's okay. It's part of the human experience. I don't have to define myself by
Yeah.
that. So if any syndrome gets seen as a label and we
Yeah.
chose not to live by those labels, if we
Mm-hmm.
lived syndrome free,
Yeah. Yeah.
how different would society be today?
Oh, I mean, probably hugely different because, but feel like everybody wants to put a label on something. I remember when the imposter syndrome started popping up, and I'm just like, I think that, excuse me for saying this, and I don't want to offend anybody either, but I think it's ridiculous. Okay, just because you're starting to experience a new level of success in your life, and that you don't know if you feel like you deserve it, but you actually do, why do you have to feel like you're an imposter? You've gotten to where you are because of who you are. So it is just, that is called just growing into this next phase of your success, of your life, of your career. So I personally do not like it. I think that is a ridiculous label, and I know that I understand the concept behind it, but I just don't agree with it, because that being uncomfortable is good. That means that you're growing to a new level in life. And if you are not feeling that, then there's something wrong with you. I think that that is natural. Like when I stepped on the bodybuilding stage, and with barely anything on, like, you don't think that I was scared to death and feel like, should I really be here? But I put the work in. I deserve to be here, and I'm getting out on that stage. I'm going to flex my ass off, and and I'm going to walk away with a trophy or not. And so, like, I think that those feelings of inadequacy when you're doing different things to break like different barriers for yourself is just part of the journey.
You have to tell
Sorry,
me
I went on a
about that.
tangent.
I love tangents. You got on the bodybuilding stage? Oh,
Mhm.
shit. I mean, seriously, what was that experience like?
Well, I competed for over 20 years. And so the last time I competed was in 2015, and I did 3 shows back to back, and I qualified for nationals. And so I'm in figure, so it's more feminine, like very like, the hourglass shape. Not the bikini, but figure, and not bodybuilding like her, gotta be big. But you put in a lot of time and energy, your diet is really strict, your whole life is really preparing to be on that stage. I personally love the journey because every time I got ready to compete, I grew as an individual. I loved the process. The last time I started prepping, I was probably in the best shape of my life was right before COVID hit. I was getting ready to compete again. It was before I had met my wonderful husband, and I was like 3 weeks out, and then they shut everything down. And I was determined to like hit a national stage. I'm like, I've always qualified because I've got good genetics. So I've always done very well because of that. And so that was really disappointing. But there's always, you're going up against a lot of beautiful women, and you're pretty much half naked in front of all these judges, like over 300 people. And, it's a pretty intense process, but I loved it. I thought it was amazing.
What are
I
the
was scared
women
every
like?
time too. I was
Yes,
scared every time too.
yes,
Like, I was nervous.
right? There's always butterflies, and I've always said that
Yeah.
the butterflies just means that this matters to me.
Yeah.
So I don't think butterflies are a bad thing. What are the women like who are competing on these stages with each other?
I've met a lot of great women. doing when I've competed. I'm still friends with them today on social media. Obviously your life goes in different directions, and there, that's not something you can really do as a career. I think you can get sponsors and you can do different things and grow your social media and make money off of it that way. But for me, it was just more about like the journey. And the women there was a lot of great women, but there was also, you got the good and the bad. You got the ones that are all stuck up, don't want to talk to you, but that also could be because they're starving. Because some of them starve themselves, and that's completely opposite of what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
I eat way more than I do now, because it's just like you're eating constantly, and that I think that's what a lot of people don't understand is eating every 2 to 3 hours actually forces your metabolism to go into high gear, and so you're burning. It's burning, you know. So I could probably just eat that diet today, and I'd probably lose like 5 or 10 pounds within a couple weeks
Yeah.
without even doing much more with my physical exercise.
Yes. Yes, exactly. One of the things that I loved about competing, so my competing was not on bodybuilding stage, by the way, is I don't have the genetics to build muscle for some reason. But I loved competing in cycling and then Ironman events and those types of things. And what I found was the higher you went, the nicer people became. Like
Yeah.
the more you grow in success, everybody has this idea or fallacy that, the masses are nice and the really top people are snobs or nasty or very competitive and don't want you in that space. And what I started realizing was no. The higher I competed,
Yeah.
really the nicer and more inclusive people became. And I found that that is true in business as well.
Yeah.
The more successful you become and the more you surround yourself with successful people, we all want success for everybody. None of
Yeah.
us, the people I'm surrounding myself with anyway, nobody wants to be successful at the detriment of somebody else.
No.
Why do you think society has created this ideology that successful people are nasty? Like rich people are not nice people. Like, why do you think
Well, there
that?
are some of those people, though.
Oh,
There are
on
some of
every
those,
level. Yeah.
but I think that that is just, again, you talk about imposter syndrome and the labels. I think that those are labels that have been put on people because of other people's experiences. So like the loudest mouth in the room, or what's the saying, like the squeaky wheel gets the grease or whatever, so the person that's, maybe has had a bad experience has talked about it so much that it's created that idea or that label around people that are successful,
Mm.
because I know that for me, as I've grown my success with my podcast, it's just been even better and better and better, and meeting incredible people like yourself and just more opportunities. And so I don't ever try to think like that. I always want to see the best in someone. And so I don't want to walk into a conversation or into a situation and think, oh, this could perhaps go bad because they are doing better than me. You know what I mean? You're not serving yourself with those kind of thoughts.
Yeah. What was your greatest lesson from competing in bodybuilding? Your greatest life lesson?
My greatest life lesson, I like how disciplined can be even when you're super tired and very deprived. Like if you have that discipline, like you can really just get through anything. Like that's really what it taught me.
Why do you think discipline has got such a bad rep?
Does it? I don't think
Mm.
so.
I think that there's what I picked up. So first of all, we started calling punishment discipline. We started using the
Oh,
word
okay.
you have to discipline your child, when what we
Okay.
mean is we have to punish our child. And I often get people asking, how do I become more disciplined? Because they think it's a hard thing. They think it's a self-punishing thing almost for them to have to be
Mm,
disciplined. There's a concept of deprivation that they have connected to discipline. If I'm really disciplined, it means I can't do these things,
mm.
instead of focusing on what can I do through my discipline? What can I
Right.
create through my discipline?
Right.
Um, again, it's just that shift in focus, right?
Yeah.
Instead of kind of going, well, if this is really supporting my dream, what is good
Right.
about it? What does it allow me to do that I wouldn't have if I
Hmm.
didn't have the discipline?
Hmm.
So,
I,
yeah,
go ahead. No, I've just never had a negative like spin on discipline like that before. That's the first time I've actually heard that.
my exposure to that came from other people. I grew
Oh,
up as a
okay.
dancer, so I've never not known discipline.
Right.
When I was 6, I my hand hit the bar, and that was it. That was me, the most disciplined little girl in the ballet class. Never missed a lesson.
Aw.
Always had
We
to.
gotta see a picture of you as a ballerina.
Oh my God! Yes,
You gotta put that in your next newsletters and write something about that because that we want
oh,
to see that.
I did many moons ago. I even had to go to my mom and go, "Do you still have photos of me of my little
Oh,
ballerina days?"
oh,
And
that's
looking back and go,
awesome.
"Oh my God, I was so cute."
Yeah.
Little pink tutu, and yeah. So for me, discipline was always just natural, and it always was
Mhm.
just, this supports my dream. This supports my vision of what I want in my life. And then when I came into personal development, and all of a sudden everybody was struggling with discipline, I had to start talking to people and go, but what is this really about for you? Why are you
Yeah.
experiencing discipline as a bad thing? And the feedback a lot of the time is discipline is something that's done to them, and something that has to be external, instead of discipline is a choice that I make
Yeah.
in who I'm being,
Right.
which for
Yeah.
women like us, it's just who we choose to be. We choose to be disciplined in certain things because of the payoff, because
Yeah.
of what it brings into our lives. But I also found that I could easily go over disciplined,
Hmm.
over restrictive, especially when I was racing. And
Hmm.
my boyfriend's son asked me the other day, "Are you going to start racing again?" And I said, "No, because I don't want to be that woman in this phase of my life, because
Yeah.
that woman didn't go out to eat. That woman didn't go on holiday unless there was
Yeah.
a race at the venue." Like,
Oh,
that
gee.
woman had to go to bed at 8 o'clock so that she could get up at 4 o'clock so that she could train by 4:30.
Yeah.
And I loved that period in my life. And I want a new period in my life where
Yeah.
there is a more, um, I'm disciplined when it comes to my dreams. I'm disciplined when it comes to my business.
Hmm.
I'm disciplined in my thoughts, but I don't want to be overly disciplined in that way of living, which is
Sure.
what it took to be an Ironman.
Well, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, that was your goal at that time. I mean, I think that everybody exercises some form of discipline in their life. I mean, if they didn't, it would be a bunch of on logs, all over the place. You have to discipline yourself to get up in the morning to go to work. You got, I mean, like if you have other responsibilities like children, you got to discipline yourself to make sure that you're there for your kids. Or what? You just going to do nothing and just let them run all over the place? Like, I don't know. I think that that's another just self-defeating type of ideology, like, oh well, their discipline is taking something away from me. Well, no, discipline is like a muscle. You have to train it for it to be very effective and to keep showing up. But if you are not wanting to be disciplined in your life, then you're just a loser. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, I can choose not to get up and like just stare at the TV all day and sit around eating like chips and whatever, but no, like that's not the kind of life that I want to lead. And most people that are probably listening to this, they can't do that either. You have to get up and do what you have to do to meet your responsibilities. And whether, that's just a simple taking care of the household and your children, you have to be disciplined in doing that.
What is this phase of your life made for?
Ooh, what is this phase of my life made for? I feel like what I'm doing now is much bigger than myself. And this is exactly where I'm supposed to be, is to spread this message. And because it means something different to everyone, but the underlying message is the same. And it is really I mean, is really just like kind of taking me to places I never thought possible. And so I think it is for me to express myself authentically. but also to help others, and kind of motivate and inspire them to really get in touch with who they are. Let's live a purposeful life. What is your purpose? Because we all are here, we all have a purpose to live. And if you are struggling trying to find that, hopefully like one of the stories inspires someone to find where they're supposed to go.
Absolutely. What do you take an unapologetic stance for in the world?
Being who I am. I'm unapologetically myself. Whether you what you see is what you get. If you don't like it, too bad. Like, okay, last night, let's just say this really quick. I went to the North Shore Luxury Magazine release party, and it was for the summer issue. And so I went with some of my girlfriends, and we get there. I'm wearing like this fantastic Versace outfit. And I'm like, I don't care. It was like, it looked great. And so we walk in there and all these people are so snooty. I'm like, I went to go like network and to talk to other people, but I just couldn't. I'm like, I can't talk to these people because it just did not rub me the right way. So we took advantage of all the free drinks, all the free food, and had a blast. And then I left. But I just I'm not going to sit there and sit in front of somebody that I know is judging me like crazy. And I'm just going to, I just don't want to deal with it. I'm not going to deal with it. I mean, I am who I am. If you don't like it, too bad.
So you are building your new podcaster community. Who specifically is it for? And if there are any podcasters listening to this, where would they find you? How would they join if it's a good fit for them?
So I know you don't like that word authentic, but I think it is very powerful because I think that we're seeing people grow a lot more and like really kind of getting on this path of enlightenment, right? And so I'm creating a network to help hosts like yourself, like me, reach a larger audience, by creating the Apple TV channel, the Roku channel, and Fire and all the things, and just allowing us all to connect and network with each other and support one another. And so I'm going to be basically a media house supporting podcasters in this space that create video content. Because I love what I'm doing and I love what we're all doing collectively, and we're making a huge impact in the world. Huge. I mean, it's just beautiful. I'm getting goosebumps right now saying that.
It's beautiful how women are reconnecting to the power of our voices and choosing to use that power for good. So yes, I'm so grateful that you came on to today's talk, Deanna. We could talk all day.
Oh yeah, Elle. Yeah. Next time we'll have to have drinks.
Oh, hell yes. Yes, we might have to do it a little later because I think that 9 o'clock in the morning for me is a little bit early to start drinking.
Yeah, that is a little early.
Or I can just book out the rest of the day so I can go to sleep afterwards.
There you go.
Possibility.
Well, you just let me know when and we'll make it happen.
We will do that. So to all our listeners, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope that you were as inspired and feel as good as I do every single time that I talk to this woman. It's time for us to start having a more fun, joyful, celebratory experience of being alive, of understanding that, holy shit, we get to live today.
Yeah.
What are we going to do with today? Who's are we going to talk to today? Whose heart can we touch today? What can we create today? How can we live our legacies today a little bit more? And we get to do that unleashed, unlimited, and bloody unapologetic. So until next time, I hope that you have a fantastical day wherever you are in the world. Cheers. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest from me, you can follow me on Instagram at The Unapologetic Woman and on LinkedIn at L-Naj. And if you're interested in experiencing the Unapologetic Woman Friendwork Soiree, book in for our next open meeting at unapologetic-women.as.me/unapologetic. Thanks again, and I'll see you next week.